Hi everyone. Let's work through this assignment on slope analysis together. What we've got here is a site plan. We've got the property boundaries, right, and some existing contours. We can see that it's high, kind of up on the upper left-hand corner, goes from 42 down to lowest, kind of down here, goes to 18. Also, if you zoom in, you can see that we have a 2-foot interval, meaning every contour line has a 2-foot height difference between it and its neighbor. So what do we need to do? Let's take a look at the instructions. We're going to organize the slopes. We're going to analyze what the slopes are and then kind of organize them into groups or zones. All right. And we'll do that visually by hatching the different areas. We're interested in zones of 0 to 1% slope, which is completely flat, 1 to 5%, which is mostly flat, all right, 5 to 10%, which is still buildable but requires grading, right? 10 to 25 is getting into the steep zone, and 25 plus is very steep. All right, so how are we going to do this? Here's what you need to do. You're going to calculate what the horizontal distance is for the slope that you're trying to find on the plan, right? And here's the example. What's the horizontal distance on the plan for slopes of 10%, right? We're going to use the S equals V over H calculation, and we know that S, the slope, is 10%. That was just given, right, which is 0.10. Right? Here's the tricky part, and I actually missed this the first time I went through it, so here you go. The V, the vertical distance, is 2 feet, and that's because our contour interval was 2. And then what we're trying to solve for is H. How far apart horizontally are these lines on the topo map, right? Plug the numbers in, and you end up with an H equals 20 feet. So any spot where two contours are exactly 20 feet apart will have a slope of exactly 10%. Right? If the contours are wider apart than 20 feet, all right, you're going to have a lower slope. If the contours are closer than 20 feet, you'll have a higher slope. How do we find those spots that are exactly 20 feet apart? We're going to do it visually. So here I am. I'm going to draw a circle, C, enter. Right? I will specify a center point. All right. I want to specify a diameter of 20 feet, so I'll enter D for diameter, and then 20 feet, enter. Right. Was it 20 feet? Let me go check. Oh yeah, 20 feet. All right, now I'm going to label this circle because we're going to have a number of different sizes. All right, so let me just kind of copy this text over here. Come on, it doesn't want to come. So this is the 10% slope circle. And now I'm going to use the copy command and kind of visually identify everywhere where the contours are exactly this far apart. The circle is really useful for this, all right, because it can measure in every direction. So in between this contour line and this contour line, which is what, 24 and 26, we can identify this spot right here, look where it touches, right, as being exactly 20 feet apart. Same here, right, between these two contour lines. Any other places? Right here. I'm going to turn off my snap. There we go. Maybe just right there. A little bit off. Anything else? Oh, right here in between these two. Okay. All right, and I'm done with this one. I'm going to delete that. So what we know is that, and I'm drawing some guidelines now, okay, for where those tangent points are. So what we know is to the right of this line, right, these contour lines are wider than 20 feet apart, right? Therefore, the slope is lower than 10%. On this side of the line, the guidelines are closer than 20 feet apart, and so that slope is higher. This line right here identifies the location where the slope is exactly 10%. Right? So that would be one of the boundaries of our hatch patterns. You're going to do this numeric calculation and then identification of the spots for 1% slope, 5% slope, 10%, and 25. Right? I'm going to speed through that right now so then we can talk about how to create those hatch patterns. All right, so what do all these marks mean? Let's take a look at this space in between the 26 and the 24 contour line. Here's 26 and here's 24 below it. We know that all of this area over here, right, is a slope lower than 5%, but not as low as 1%. It's in the 1 to 5% range, right? And we can copy that label right over. 1 to 5%, right? And then we know that this area between this line and this line, right in here, is going to be somewhere between the 5 to 10%. Copy that label over. And we know that the area up between here and here is going to be between 10 and 25%. And then notice the contours get even closer together, right? So everything on this side over here is greater than 25%. And we can copy that label over. And I'm going to rotate it. Right. Now, how do you create these hatch patterns? First thing I'm going to do is just turn off these circles and the labels, and all I want to see are these lines and also the contour lines. So adjust your layers accordingly. Next, you're going to create your hatch areas. And I'm going to use the bhatch command, BH. We identified this area right here as being between the 5% and the 10% slope. So I'm going to pick this internal point. And I can use the match properties to make it just like this hatch pattern right here. And then I will close the hatch creation. You will do this for every area on your map. Let me go ahead and complete that. All right, so you see in this example area that we've given you, we've got the 1 to 5%, the 5 to 10, 10 to 25, and the greater than 25%. And I can turn those labels that I created earlier back on. And this is what your analysis is going to look like. You'll continue with the rest of the site. Thanks, everyone.